All identical items should be stackable to save on screen space. This doesn't affect actual storage capacity, it just makes the windows easier to navigate. When you hover over an item in storage, it will show a pop-up of possible slots where it can be equipped. There should be an opposite function to allow you to see what is equipped and remove without having to find the hidden item somewhere on your torso. These are enabled in certain ship lockers at the moment, but should be the default for all ship personal storage. A button to store all would be incredibly handy, saving a lot of time of dragging items. Store equipment and store from containers would be useful extensions of this. Being able to save a loadout to a slot and then equip it by clicking the relevant button would also save a lot of time, both for gearing up and for restocking. The old functionality of landing zone suit lockers should make a return, allowing the player to switch either from their equipped undersuit loadout into saved civilian loadout, or vice versa when interacting with a suit locker. This would work as it did before, allowing your civilian clothing to always be waiting for you, not needing to be moved every time with the physicalized inventory. You should be able to stow a single helmet on your person without the need of a backpack. This doesn't currently follow any known logic. Sort by alphabetical, set, colour, or fill level, etc. would make inventories a lot easier to navigate. Further to sorting, inventory pages should be numbered and navigable by typing in the page number. A somewhat heftier addition would be a search box, allowing you to type a partial item name and see relevant results. At the moment, there is no way of differentiating between a P4AR with a scope, silencer and laser attached, and one with no attachments at all. If this cannot be represented in the image, just having a text description of attachments would suffice. Also applies to contents, i.e. a stored backpack with a bottle of water in it. Further to item view, stored items could be customizable without having to equip them. The ability to favourite items and access a favourites category would be very useful, particularly for things like org dress code. It would be useful to be able to move items to and from stored ships, not just spawned ones, particularly because of automated ship storage interrupting inventory transfers. Being able to drag a held crate into a large enough personal inventory would make crate missions viable for ships like the Mustang Alpha, and in the case of single box missions, even the Gladius. A button on an inventory window to view in knickknacks, or the other way around, would nicely tie together these two disconnected systems. An indicator that shows when the server has successfully transferred an item, similar to the Windows sync tick, would ease a lot of frustration with trying and failing to loot or move things. This would be more useful than the current inaccurate loading washing machine symbol thing for the entire inventory's sync status. The split option is frequently unusable for the inventory on the right of the screen due to its location. This should be a simple layout fix. Modifier keys for transferring one item or half of a stack would be even more user-friendly than the split menu option. I'd recommend using Shift and Control as default keybinds. As the inventory is used in real time and you could be killed in the interim, movement inputs with default WASD should continue to be accepted while in the inventory, such as with games like Stalker. To allow the inventory to be used in cramped spaces or cockpit seats, and to maintain immersion, a first-person version would be handy, perhaps using a list view like knickknacks. This would also tie in well with being able to continue moving whilst using the inventory. An interaction option to hold out and offer an item for another player to take from your hand would bypass having to throw items on the ground, where they may glitch through the floor, get lost, or be impossible to grab. This would also bypass the effect of the "this area is too cluttered" warning. I can't be the only person who keeps accidentally equipping grenades because they're within the player's peripheral vision on many core armours. An option to disable this interaction would be much appreciated. At the moment, the stow interaction is ambiguous as to whether it will stow to an equipment slot or to a container. Clarifying what the interaction will do would be more user-friendly. We used to be able to wear hats and glasses with undersuits. It would be nice to get this functionality back. The civilian backpack that comes with the Ranger CV is completely useless because of its tiny storage capacity, less than most leg armour. Please don't repeat this mistake with other civilian backpacks. Being able to put a multi-tool or medgun in a primary or secondary weapon slot would make loadouts including all three of medgun, multi-tool and knife viable. The current implementation has the searchable corpses for missions unable to be properly interacted with. Moving these over to use the inventory system would make these missions feel more integrated into standard gameplay. When looking at a lootable inventory, be it a crate or a corpse, you could show whether the player already owns that item, with one flag for items owned on your person, and another for items owned anywhere in knickknacks. Item descriptions could show the date when the item was acquired, giving everything you own an immersive sense of history. This would tie in well with future things like wear and tear. For a given area, every unique player should get an allowance of one item beyond the Area 2 cluttered restriction, allowing things to be manoeuvred as required. For example, dropping your leg armour so you can loot those shiny gold Pab 1 legs from a loot crate while in the middle of a Jumptown raid. It would make sense if the inventory window layout made more use of pages and less of scroll bars. Star Citizen has too much scroll wheel action already. The default action for interacting with a corpse should be loot, as this is the most ubiquitous. For an incapacitated person, however, the default should be drag body. Subscriber or otherwise account credited items should be flagged as such, so you can make sure to avoid taking them somewhere perilous. An option to toggle for automatically stacking traversed items. An option to toggle for either transferring or swapping items when dropping one item on top of another. Further to toggle swap, an option toggle for swapped containers transferring their contents, where possible, i.e. swap backpacks but keep the water bottle inside. An option toggle for containers to either be decanted when stored or to keep their contents. An option toggle when viewing ammo and attachments to only show items relevant to things you already have equipped.